Rhino. Ross Dellenger, a writer from Sports Illustrated, joins us now on Middays. Morning, Ross. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so I read your article, and it's fascinating. Share it, if you will, the gist of it with our audience. This concerns some vaccine hesitancy and a situation involving your aunt, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. My aunt, she was in her late 40s without any real underlying conditions, and she got COVID back in July. And I guess it was about 2 weeks after she tested positive, she was in ICU and sedated, and within a week and a half, she passed. And before she got COVID, we, as a family, tried to get her vaccinated, tried to convince her to get vaccinated, and she declined. So it's been, it's a tough pill to swallow when any loved one passes, especially one who's 48. But especially in this circumstance, it was obviously it was difficult.
And she was, of course, according to your article, a wife and a mother to a teenager as well.
That's right. That's right. Her son is 16 years old, and obviously has hopefully a whole life ahead of him, but unfortunately without his mother.
Yeah, and you were quite close, according to your account, to your aunt. Is that correct?
Yeah, she was my godmother, and she was my mom's sister, and my godmother, and somebody who, growing up, probably I spent a lot of time around. Somebody who rubbed off on me. She was a special person who could, as I wrote, make you laugh and cry in the same sentence. And she was kind of a light of our family, so to speak. So, yeah, she was a big part of my life, and probably, her personality, I like to think, rubbed off on me, and is one of the reasons that I am who I am today.
Did she share with you, Ross, any particular reasons for why she declined the vaccine?
Well, there were a lot. They changed depending on the day and the week. It started off with, she works with underprivileged special needs children. She did. And so she had, I think, had it ingrained in her mind for a while now that vaccines for children, were something that she disagreed with. And so I guess that became, for her, even though she's an adult, she just refused the vaccine because she had in her mind that maybe it impacted children, some of the children that maybe she works with. So that was one reason. Another reason was the one you hear a lot about now, with the infertility, and then there, lastly, toward right before she got sick, probably when she had COVID and we didn't know it at the time, during our family trip, I approached her once again about it, just subtly. I'm not a guy. I didn't want to push her into anything. And I approached her again about it, and she said, well, they just don't know the long-term effects. And we just kind of left it at that. That was the last time we talked about it. And 2 days later, she tested positive, and 2 weeks later, she was sedated.
At any point during that 2-week period, Ross, did she ever discuss any regrets for not being vaccinated?
Not really. I texted with her a little bit. During that time, I didn't talk to her just because when she was in the hospital, she was on, she obviously had oxygen. She
Yeah.
had a mask on and stuff. So I didn't
Yep.
talk to her much. She FaceTimed with a couple other people in my family. So I texted her, but we didn't really get into that. But she did. Her husband did visit her. It was only like one visitor could go, and so he
Hmm.
went. And I think that to him, she didn't really express anything. There's one specific family member that FaceTimed her, and the family member told her that she was getting her children who were teenagers vaccinated. And my aunt, who was in the hospital, all on oxygen, a week and a half into COVID, told this family member not to do it, not to get her children vaccinated.
Hmm.
So to the very end, she didn't hold regrets. She did not.
Hmm. You made a statement. I'll read from your article, which was published in Time. In pandemic times, the ICU is chilling. Death lives here. Were you able to visit her in the ICU? And you went on to give a description. I mean, an incredibly poignant visual account of what you saw. Medical staff members wear green biohazard suits, face shields, latex gloves, and shoe coverings, strips of red tape, all caps, isolation, they read, marked the windows and doors of individual rooms.
Yeah, I did. I got the chance when she got when she was before she got moved into ICU. Her husband was the only one that could go see her. When she got into ICU, they opened it up to anybody could go see her in the family, but it only could be one person per day, and you got a
Mm-hmm.
half an hour, two half-an-hour segments in the morning and then in the evening. So I went one day and got to see her twice, and it it's just hard to describe what that was like. I've never seen anything like it. I hope I don't ever see anything like it again. I don't know how the nurses and doctors do it every day. It almost felt to me, if you've seen The Matrix, and they're all hooked up to at the beginning of the movie, they're all hooked up to the whatever it is, the computer that's hooked to the back of their head, and they're all in pods and they're sedated. That's what it's like. And in every room, there were 25 rooms. Every room had somebody um, laying on their stomach or laying on their back, sedated with a tube. Instead of on the back of their head, like the Matrix, it was down their throat, in their mouth. Um, and it was chilling. It was. And there were 25 beds in an ICU. And as the nurse told me that was in the ICU, 24 of them were unvaccinated. And that nurse expressed, her frustration in that. And, it was a difficult conversation to have, because during that conversation, I asked the nurse if I could see the latest x-rays, which my family had not seen at that point. And she showed me the x-rays of my aunt's lungs. And, that's probably when I knew that she was not going to make it. I'm no doctor, but, lungs are on an x-ray, supposed to be black. And there was barely any black in her lungs. So, that was a tough day.
Yeah. Would you mind saying, are you vaccinated in your family?
I am, yeah. In fact, we went on a family trip in late July, and there was 9 of us, and we were all in a condo together. Uh, 3 of the 9 were unvaccinated,
Yeah.
um, and 2 of the 9 were unvaccinated. 3 people got COVID that weekend. They tested positive.
Yeah.
2 other members of my family and my aunt. The 2 other members of my family had just mild cold symptoms, felt it for a day or so. My aunt, obviously, and those 2 were vaccinated that felt the cold symptoms in my aunt. obviously unvaccinated. 3 weeks after that trip or so, 3.5 weeks,
Yeah.
passed.
Ross, thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks for writing this up, and very sorry for your loss.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on.
We'll be right back with